Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 4th Feb today, and in this video we are going to solve some important questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we'll start our discussion, as usual, I would like to give the brief introduction about our initiative so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. I will be very much precise in it. In this video, we are going to discuss three types of questions from three different sources. So in that, the first set of questions which we are going to discuss here are taken from the current affairs. What we will do? We'll take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We'll try to break them down into the simplest language possible, and we'll try to derive the possible prelims questions from these particular articles so that it will give the idea which part of the newspaper is important for you, how you should approach your preparation, and how you can expect questions from those particular articles. So this is what we are going to do in the first part of our discussion. After discussing these questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the another part of our discussion where we will discuss some static topic based questions. Currently, we are discussing Indian polity, and in Indian polity, we are discussing the office of president. So today, we are going to discuss the mercy powers of the president and try to derive a possible prelims question from that particular topic, so that you can understand how the questions can be asked from that particular topic too. After solving questions with respect to static topic and the current affairs, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion where we will discuss some previous year questions. To me, this is the most important part because in this part we will try to learn different models used by UPSC in framing your papers, different trends followed by them, and also we'll try to understand how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam, and also we'll try to understand the vocabulary, the different techniques through which we can solve these questions if we don't have the proper knowledge. So this is in a nutshell what we are going to do in this video. Now, without any delay, let's start our discussion by solving the first question by looking at the first question here. The question is about the artificial intelligence, the impact of artificial intelligence on the service sector. So you may ask me why we had brought this question here, because there was a discussion about the budget itself. As budget, it finance minister of India, she talked about the Viksit Bharat. So in this year's budget, Viksit Bharat, this was the most mentioned name, and to achieve this status of Viksit Bharat by 2047, what India has to go through. First of all, we should know what this Viksit Bharat is about. So before we first we will know what this Viksit Bharat is about, what India has to achieve, what India has to do to be this Viksit Bharat. After that, we will learn what kind of economy do we need to achieve this. Why we need to create the jobs to achieve this status, that is Viksit Bharat. First of all, about the Viksit Bharat, there are few points which were actually given by the finance minister itself during the budget speech. So that becomes important for us, for aspirants, to note them down, to use them. We can expect questions about what are the features of the Viksit Bharat. A question in the mains can be asked, or a direct question in the prelims can be asked with respect to them. So what are the features which were given by the finance minister? The first feature of the Viksit Bharat is there should be poverty zero poverty by 2047. There should be zero poverty in our country. And second, 100% good quality school education. Second is 100% good quality school education. It should be there, 100% good quality school education. Third, access to high quality affordable healthcare centers. Access to high quality affordable healthcare centers. This is the third feature of the Viksit Bharat. Fourth, in our country, we should have 100% skilled laborers. Fourth point about the feature of the Viksit Bharat is that we should have 100% skilled laborers. Fifth point given about the Viksit Bharat, that 70% of the women in our country, they should be in economic activity. They should be involved in the economic activities. And the last point about the future of the Viksit Bharat is that our farmers should make India the world's food basket. So these are few features which were given by the finance minister, which were mentioned by the finance minister about the Viksit Bharat. So with respect to this, to achieve this, we have to understand what kind of jobs we can create from today, from this year, we can say. to achieve this, right now we are seeing that we have to take care of many things. For example, as the article itself, the article from where we had taken this question, article talked about three major things. First, it talked about the climate change. We have to take care of the climate. When we are going to create the jobs, we have to create those jobs which are very much climate friendly. For example, investments in EV cars, we can create jobs in the EV cars which are very much climate friendly. And also we can invest in biogas plants. So one kind of job, one type of job which the article here mentions, that to achieve this goal of Viksit Bharat, we have to create the jobs which are in line with the present scenarios. For example, we here talk about the climate change, so we have to take care of that. So with respect to that, we have to create those jobs which will check the climate change. Second thing which the author here suggests, that right now it is the time of the AI, and AI is taking over. Because of AI, many jobs would be lost in the service sector especially. So we have to take care of this also. The government has to provide the jobs, even though we have to invest in AI. That is the need of the hour right now. Every country is investing in it, so we too have to invest in it, and we have to be in race with the countries like China and USA. But we know the by adopting the AI, there would be many jobs which are in the service sector which would be lost. So we have to, the country, the government has to think over it, that they have to promote those jobs which will least be affected by the AI. So if we will exemplify here, what are those jobs? For example, in the education sector, AI can't replace teachers. You need teachers. At anyhow, you need teachers. So in education sectors, you need AI won't impact the jobs in the education sector. So even though AI will enhance education, but it won't impact the jobs in the education sector. So here the government has to think creating more jobs in this sector. Then second, agricultural sectors, agricultural work. Here AI won't replace the farmers, AI won't replace it. So here also the government has to think about creating jobs in the agriculture. Then healthcare, we need healthcare centers, we need doctors, we need human contact for that. So here also AI can't replace doctors, even though it will try its best, but human contact is very much essential for in the healthcare sector. And also in artisan work, where AI can't replace there also. So here these are the four branches of the economy, we can say, in which the author here wants government to invest in these areas, so that the impact of the AI won't be felt, the negative impact of the AI won't be felt in this particular portion, in this particular area. And then the third thing which the author here mentioned about the upskilling our youth, aspirational centers. He also talked about the aspirational centers where we can upskill our youth for the entrepreneurship, so that we can achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat. And these are the jobs which the government can think of in achieving this goal of the Viksit Bharat, and at the same time check the climate change, and at the same time neglect the impact of the AI, which it can have, the negative impact it can have on the jobs. So this is what we need to understand through this question. I hope you had understood the basics of this article. What it talked about, it basically talked about the Viksit Bharat. Let me repeat it again. It talked about the Viksit Bharat, what are the key features of it. It talked about India right now. To achieve this goal of the Viksit Bharat, we have to create jobs which are very much climate friendly, which will neglect the impact of the AI, and also which are very much aspirational kind of thing. So with respect to that, we understood it in a very detail, we can say. So with this, we had brought this question here with respect to AI, how it can impact the services sector. So let's try to understand this question and try to understand more about this concept. Here the question says, with reference to the impact of artificial intelligence on the services sector, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, AI-driven automation is likely to lead to significant job displacement, particularly in roles involving repetitive tasks and data processing. 100% correct. It can lead to this. Second statement, the adoption of AI in services delivery may exacerbate existing biases present in training data, leading to discriminatory outcomes for certain customer segments. 100% correct. Third statement, AI can enhance services personalization and efficiency, but it also raises concerns about data privacy and security. 100% correct. Fourth statement, the successful integration of AI in the services sector requires substantial investment in recycling and upskilling the workforce to adapt to the changing demands. 100% correct. So with respect to this, all the with respect to this question, all the four statements are correct. I hope you had understood the question. This is the model question where you can understand the whole concept. Actually, the main reason to bring this question was to make you understand the concept of artificial intelligence and its impact on the service sector. And why we brought this question here, because there was discussion over the budget which talked about various things, which talked about the Viksit Bharat, what are the different goals which we have to achieve under Viksit Bharat, and what kind of economy we need to achieve this for these years. I hope you had understood the topic in a very detail, without any confusion. With this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought on the screen in the next slide. Here, the question is with respect to ethanol blending. About ethanol blending, we did a discussion over it where we will blend 20% of ethanol with the petroleum, and by which we will reduce the import cost, we will reduce the import cost which we spend on the petroleum, because once we will start blending, once we will start generating this ethanol in our country and we start blending it with the petroleum, we will definitely reduce the import which we are doing right now. So with respect to that, we had different goals. Earlier we used ethanol 10 and it was replaced by ethanol 12, and we had achieved ethanol 12, and we had achieved this goal of ethanol 20. We had achieved this goal of ethanol 20 and we achieved it prior to 1 year. So with respect to this, we had done discussions what ethanol 20 is. We had done everything with respect to that, but here we will try to understand. The author here wants us to understand, as an aspirant, he wants us to understand, if he is talking to us, he wants us to understand what are the different generational ethanols, what are different generation ethanols which the government is using for this ethanol blending. So with respect to that, we have four generation ethanols that we need to understand, which can be important for your exams. In the first generation ethanol, we get ethanol from edible biomass. We get ethanol from edible biomass. For example, sugar crops, wheat or rice. So this is the first. In the first case, we get ethanol from the edible in the first generation. In the second generation, we get ethanol from the non-edible biomass, for example wood and straw or agricultural residues. In the third generation, we get ethanol from the algal biomass. In the third generation, we get ethanol from the algal biomass. And in the fourth generation, we get ethanol which is genetically modified, or we can say generational breakthrough, in which this ethanol is made in the laboratories, we can say. So these are four kinds of ethanols which can be essential for the ethanol blending. But right now, the major ethanol which we get from the first source, that is from the first generation. We get the major ethanol which we use for the ethanol blending, we get it from the first generation. So with respect to this, to achieve, as we had achieved this ethanol E20 program, as we had achieved this E20 target, so for yearly basis we need to understand how much ethanol do we need for this. For yearly basis, we would need approximately 1100 crore liters of ethanol. And to get this much ethanol from the food, from the first generation, or we can say from the edible biomass, it can impact the food security in our country. Majorly right now, if we will talk about right now, we are taking it from the sugar and rice. The major quantity of the ethanol is taken from the sugar and rice, which is approximately 70% is taken from these two crops. So to get 1100 crore liters of ethanol, and to get it from the edible biomass, it can impact the food security of the country. So here the author suggests, we can say, the author says in a way that it is prime time for India to shift our ethanol requirements from first generation to other generations, as well as in the in the edible we can say edible biomass itself, we can shift from rice and sugar to the maize. If we will get this from the maize, by getting the ethanol from if we will generate ethanol from the maize, it will definitely impact, it will have less impact on the food security. So with respect to that, from 2020 onwards, we are seeing that there is a increase in the maize imports. We had seen increase in the maize imports in our country because we are using it for the ethanol blending. So this is what the author says, that we should restrict ethanol which we get from the rice and sugar canes. We should shift it to the maize, then shift it to the other generational ethanols. And also in this, India can invest in our in different states. Also, we have states like Karnataka, MP, Maharashtra, AP, Rajasthan, Bihar, which are, which can produce huge amount of maize for the ethanol blending as well as the food security. So this is in a nutshell about the author, about the article which was mentioned in the newspaper today. So let's recap. What does it say? That currently we are getting ethanol from the first generation majorly, and in the first generation we are getting ethanol from the rice and sugar cane. But the author says if we start, for yearly basis, we would need 1100 crore liters, and to get this much ethanol from the food sources, it can impact the food security. So it is prime time for India to shift to the other sources also. And in the food sources, if we want to keep on getting from the first generation, it is better for India to go take ethanol from the maize, and we had started doing it. It is the prime time for what the author here wants us to understand, that it is time for the Indian government to shift its goal, as we are currently getting it from the food sources, and it is prime time for India to shift it to the other generations. As well as if we are getting it in the food sources, it is better for them to get from the maize, which will not impact the food security. So this is all which I wanted you to understand. So with this, let's try to solve the question and get more idea about it. So here the question says, with reference to ethanol blending in fuels, consider the following statements regarding different generations of ethanol. So first statement: first generation ethanol is primarily produced from food crops like sugarcane, molasses, and corn, potentially leading to competition with food security. 100% correct. This is what we understood. This is one of the drawback of it. Second statement: second generation ethanol is derived from non-food sources such as agricultural residues, wood, straw, reducing the process on food resources. 100% correct. Third statement: third generation ethanol utilizes algae as a feedstock, offering a potentially more sustainable and scalable alternative. 100% correct. Fourth statement: the Indian government aims to promote the production and use of only first generation ethanol for blending and with petrol. Even though the majorly we take it from the first generation, but it is not what the Indian government currently promotes. We are trying to spread our arms to all the generations, so this statement becomes incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3 only. So with this, I hope you had understood the question and also why we had brought this question here. With this, let's move to the another slide and see what we had brought on there. Here the question is with respect to the World Health Organization. As the question says, World Health Organization plays a crucial role in global health. 100% correct. Which of the following is not a core function of the WHO? So here, why we brought this question? Because the article about the withdrawal of Donald Trump from World Health Organization. Withdrawal of Trump from WHO. So why he withdrew from it? Because according to him, WHO was not able to, curb COVID-19 properly, or we can say to deal with it was not able to deal with the COVID-19 properly. This is one of the accusation from the Trump. And the second, it talked about that WHO is very much inclined towards China. So with respect to this, there was a survey done in USA, we can say, in different countries, and they asked the popular opinion of the people. And with respect to this, when the question was raised whether WHO was able to curb COVID-19, and whether WHO has done good to the USA, or the people who were against it were approximately 48 to 50% of the people were against WHO. So they wanted that USA should withdraw from it. It has not done any good to USA, and it was not able to curb COVID-19. So with with respect to this, it shows how the how a leader like Trump, how a we can say fan favorite leader like Trump can change the mindset of the people. If we will go back to a few years, same survey was done, and the people were very much in favor of the WHO when there was Biden was there, when Biden was there, or when before that when other leaders were there, people were very much in favor of that. But if a leader like a fan favorite leader like Trump, he comes, and it can change the mentality of the people. So this is how it shows how the mentality, how the perspective of the people had changed there. And also, with respect to WHO, as he has withdrawn from, as he gave his first few executive orders with respect to withdrawal from the WHO, now we have to understand what can be the impact of it. Currently we should know that 18% of the finances which the WHO gets, 18% of the finance approximately gets it from the USA, and it uses these finances in different you know in different sectors which are going to impact the health, in different sectors we can say. So if now USA is not going to use these finances, so there would be huge gap on the WHO. Its working will get diluted. It is working on different projects that will get diluted, and also it is it can impact India too, as India is right now trying to curb the tuberculosis. WHO was helping in this, so it can impact India too. So many projects will get collapsed because of this, because this much finance they will there will be reduction of this much finances. And also it can lead to the influence of China will increase in WHO, because China is the second country after USA which gives the highest finances. 5% of finances of the WHO are from the China. So influence of China will definitely increase, and it won't go good with the other countries like India. So with this, I hope you had got the basic understanding why we had brought this question here. Now with this, let's try to understand more about WHO through this question. Here the question says, World Health Organization plays a crucial role in global health. 100% correct. Which of the following is not a core function of the WHO? So here it is asking which of these functions is not the core function of WHO. First statement, setting international health standards and guidelines. 100% it is the core function. Second statement, providing humanitarian aid in disaster stricken regions. 100% correct. Third statement, coordinating and supporting research in global health issues. 100% correct. Fourth statement, directly providing medical treatment to individuals in member countries. No, it is not the core function of the WHO. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement D. So with this, I hope you had understood the question as well as why we brought this question here. With this, let's move to the another question. Also with respect to Trump's trade policies, let us see what question we had brought today. Here, as you can see on the screen, the question is with respect to tariffs. As the tariff war is going on, Trump has started this trade war with the different countries. There were three major countries which were the prime target of the Trump. One was Canada because of the Trudeau. Second was Mexico because of the Mexican border, and third was China. As we know, Trump and China never go in line. Usually, US and China never go in line. So on these three countries, Trump is going for the trade wars, and Trump is going to increase the tariffs, and it is going to impact the imports from these countries. So with respect to this, there was a question asked to Trump, what is the next for Trump to, as he has promised to go for these trade wars, to tariff wars. So what would be the next target? So to answering this, the Trump has given the answer. The answer given by Trump was EU, European Union. So the European Union responded, if they are going to go for these tariff wars with us, if they are going to increase these tariffs on the EU, it is eventually going to help China. So this is the discussion. It is eventually going to help China, and in which in fact will definitely impact, it will have the bad impact on the US its own economy, because these countries will reciprocate to the actions which the US is trying right now. So it is going to impact the US imports, it is going to impact the US exports if US continues these tariff wars. And also it can impact, in a way impact Indian economy too. So this is why we had brought this question here, because Trump has already started tariff wars with respect to China, with respect to Mexico, and with respect to Canada, and it is going to go for the trade war, we can say, with EU also, to which the EU responded that its impact will be, it would be good for China. The more the country which would get benefited from these trade wars would be China. So with this, I hope you had got the basic understanding. Now let us see what question we had brought today. Here the question says, tariffs traditionally used as an instrument of trade policy can also be weaponized. 100% correct. In international relations, which of the following scenarios best exemplifies the weaponization of tariff? First statement, a country reduces tariff on essential goods to lower prices for its consumers. Totally incorrect with respect to question. Second statement, a group of nations collectively lower tariffs to promote regional economic integration, even though they do, but with respect to question, it is incorrect. Third statement, a country imposes high tariffs on specific goods from another country with the primary aim of forcing that country into changing its foreign policy. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be option C. With this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought on another slide. Here the question is with respect to Osiris Rex spacecraft mission. Why we are discussing this? Because a rock sample was taken from this Bennu asteroid, and it was studied, and it has been found that it contained the chemical composition, or we can say it contained certain chemicals which support that, which are it contained this sample which was taken from this asteroid, or we can say Bennu asteroid, and it was studied, and the results had shown that this sample contained those chemical compositions which are essential for the formation of life. So it supports the theory that an asteroid has hit the earth which had carried these chemical compositions which had led to the start of life in earth too. So this is why it became important. So with this, let's try to solve the question and learn more about Osiris Rex spacecraft mission. Here the question says, regarding the Osiris Rex spacecraft mission, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, Osiris Rex was a mission to study and return a sample from a near Earth asteroid. 100% correct. Second statement, the primary objective of the mission was to collect and return a sample from the asteroid Bennu. 100% correct. Third statement, the spacecraft successfully collected a sample from the asteroid surface using a touch and go maneuver. 100% correct. Fourth statement, Osiris Rex is a joint mission between NASA and European Space Agency. Totally incorrect. It is the mission of NASA. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. So with this, we complete today's discussion with respect to current affairs. I hope I was able to make you understand every topic which we discussed here. I hope there is no confusion. If there is any, please do write in the comments. We'll try our best to clear that. So with this, let's move to the another part of our discussion, where we will try to solve a static question. And today's static question is from the mercy powers of the president. Here, as in the static part, we are discussing the Indian polity, and as you know that we had reached till the office of the president, and with respect to president, we had discussed various powers of the president. Today, the question is about the mercy powers of the president, and let's try to understand it in nutshell through this question. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the mercy powers of the president. First statement, the president has the power to grant pardons. 100% correct. Correct. He has the power to grant pardon. What does pardon mean? Pardon means absolving the convict of all guilt and punishment. So if he has done any punishment, to absolve that person of that punishment or guilt, so this is called pardon. Reprieve, respites, and remissions of punishments or to suspend, remit, or commute the sentence of any person convicted of any offense, including in cases involving death sentences. 100% is the power of the president. So here, what is the commutation? It is the reduction of punishment from death sentence to life imprisonment. So please remember these terms: commutation, reduction of, it is the reduction of a punishment from death sentence to the life imprisonment, and it is under the power of the president. Second term which we need to know, remission. What is remission? Remission, it is a quantitative reduction of a punishment without affecting the nature of the punishment. Remission, what is this? Remission is the quantitative reduction of the punishment, quantitative reduction of the punishment without impacting the nature of the punishment. For example, if 2 years of rigorous punishment was given, it would be reduced to 1 year of rigorous punishment. So remission can be given by the president. Commutation can be given by him. A pardon can be given by him. Then after that, there is another term which is mentioned, is a respite. What is this respite? Respite means a reduction of punishment in view of a special fact, for example, pregnancy or old age. For a respite means, for there is a special fact, for she is a pregnant woman, so there would be reduction of punishment, or he's an old person, there would be reduction of punishment. Criminal is an old person, then there would be the reduction of the punishment. Then the another thing is reprieve. So what is this reprieve? Reprieve is a stay of death sentence or life imprisonment pending an appeal for pardon or commutation. Usually when any appeal goes to the president for the pardon, what he will do, he will stay it. Once this appeal is stayed, he can't be punished, he can't be given the death sentence. So once the president, once this petition is within president's office, once it is taken to the president, if president does not respond to it and stays it, until he stays it, that person can't be hanged. So this is the reprieve, he can do this also. So with respect to this question, the first statement becomes is 100% correct, and I hope you had understood all the important terms which were mentioned in the first statement. Now moving to the second statement, it says the president's decision in the exercise of mercy powers is final and the judiciary cannot review it under any circumstances. Usually judiciary does not take cases with respect to president's decisions in such powers, but if the president has made any decision with respect to that, even one thing we should know, that by giving by making such decisions with respect to his mercy powers, he is very much dependent on the advice given to him by the council of ministers. So with respect to this, usually courts would not take these cases, but can courts take it? Can we go to the courts? Yes, we can go to the courts, and if it is unconstitutional, then courts will definitely take it. So the review would be done by the judiciary. So with respect to this question, the second statement becomes incorrect. Third statement, the power to grant pardons is mentioned under Article 72 of the Constitution of India, which extends to both judicial and executive actions. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Statement 1 and statement 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, I hope you had understood the mercy powers of the president. Now with this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve a previous year question. As here on the screen you can see, the question is from the physical geography, as currently we are discussing the questions from it. For your information, I would like to mention here, we had discussed questions with respect to ancient India, previous year question, every previous year question. With respect to medieval India, we had discussed it. With respect to modern, we had discussed it. With respect to India's struggle for freedom, we had discussed it. Every question with respect to these which were asked in previous exams. Currently we are discussing the physical geography, and this question has been asked in the 2010. From few days we had seen there is a repetition of questions with respect to albedo, which the UPSC asks. So albedo is something which is very much important for UPSC. They had asked a question with respect to the albedo of the planets. They had asked questions with respect to the albedo, what does it actually mean. So here the question is in different taste. The question is same but in a different language. So that's why I say in the beginning that we'll try to understand the different language used by the UPSC. Sometimes they will repeat the same question but the language is different. In the earlier questions they did not explain what albedo is. Here they had given the explanation of that. Here the question says, which of the following reflects back more sunlight compared to other three? So simply, which has the highest albedo, and which is that? It is the It is land covered with fresh snow. It has the highest albedo. So 100% the correct answer to this is option 3. And with this, I hope you had got this understanding that UPSC has this habit of repeating the questions. In either they will directly repeat, or they will repeat in a different language, or also they will repeat, they will ask a question from the options which were given in earlier exams. Now in the next exam they may ask the questions from the options. So this is what we try to understand here. So with this we complete today's discussion. I hope you had understood the question. I hope you had understood the discussion. With this I would like to thank you guys for staying with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.